Thank you for coming today to the launch of our book.
It's not a topic that excites everyone, but Gibraltar's tax story sits alongside the ROC's economic, social and cultural evolution. On the Principles of Gibraltar Taxation is a timely publication, the first of its kind for nearly 20 years.
In recent years, I've been publishing articles in international journals, and I went onto a tax library database called IBFD, which is the biggest tax library in the world, and I typed the word Gibraltar in, and there was very, very few pieces by local people about Gibraltar tax. Lots of PhDs about tax base and tax havens and things like that, but written by people who weren't from Gib. So it was obvious there's a gap, that our voice isn't being heard. And so I decided to tackle this and put together a piece of work. It's 60,000 words long. It's a substantial piece of work, and we've got 13 different authors writing and sort of spreading the experience around amongst the firm.
I think it's particularly important to show that Gibraltar has a very mature and sophisticated tax system. We always say that Gibraltar punches above its weight, but it really does punch above its weight. It has a system that is thought out, that is perfect, that is suitable for the jurisdiction, and that's why I thought this book is so important, to bring out the principles to show that Gibraltar does have that mature tax system.
So how did the authors manage to capture such a complex subject?
So we've identified 8 different principles which underlie the whole of the Gibraltar tax system, which are things like we tax territorially, we are a separate jurisdiction, Spain exists and we can't ignore it, and that is reflected in our law. And we've then written a piece on each of those principles, where it comes from, why it exists, how it operates, and hopefully we've done it in an academic level that will stand the test of time. Whilst it's academic, hopefully some pieces of it are accessible to people who aren't tax specialists, especially the one around the territorial base, because that sets our tax system in its origins historically, where it comes from, the British Empire, model tax ordinance, and the other places in the world that have done it. So hopefully it will appeal to anybody who has an interest. You don't have to be a tax specialist, but it certainly does involve some history and understanding of Gib as it is, rather than just the tax system.
Tax is a dynamic area with a huge raft of international reforms in the past 10 years, but the book captures the key principles that have helped shape Gibraltar.
But what was amazing about putting this book together was the teamwork. It was not just Grahame and myself who worked on it, but actually there were contributors from the young practitioners in this office, and it allowed to bring that young spirit, that young energy into the book. So that teamwork was really enjoyable, actually.
Expect a new edition in 2 to 3 years. But for now, On the Principles of Gibraltar Taxation is not as scary as it sounds. The narrative is hugely accessible to anyone interested in how tax has evolved to the present-day system.